No, dead. They're all dead.
Mamma mia!
The following views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the producers, hosts, and or guests of the Bitter Marks podcast. We assume no responsibility for any errors or omissions in the content provided.
Listener discretion is advised.
Bitter Marks! Bitter Marks! It's just going to be all three of us.
What's up, Smooth Bears? Welcome to Bitter Marks. It's your favorite non-wrestling wrestling podcast coming to you every single Friday morning in audio form at bittermarks.com or wherever you get your podcast from. Or join us live every single Tuesday night on YouTube. We record live. You can join us in the YouTube chat. That's Tuesdays at 9:05. Live at 9:05? I think that was the catchphrase. I don't know. It's a tough one to remember. Anyway, come join us. Be in the chat. We got a Hattori Hanzo in there. I see some CU comedy. I don't know. I think I'm in there. I may be in there potentially if I logged in correctly. Anyway, what is this show? This is a show. It's a podcast. If this is your first time joining us, you're definitely confused. Feel free to email us how confused you are and why you are so confused. bittermarks@gmail.com is the best way to get a hold of us. I am one of your hosts. My name is Sasha, and I am joined by the man who's hiding behind TNA clips. He's a indie ref extraordinaire. It's Peewee.
Hey, yeah, love me some ladder match clips this week. I figured I'd throw those in.
Yeah, that's nice.
And, right before we went live, I realized I did not put those up before we hit the play button. So you got a quick glimpse behind the scenes before we started there. Yeah, man, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little loopy today. I was telling you before we started before we started this snow. Before we started in the snow, I was letting you know that it's been a long day for me, and then you told me your day was actually even longer than mine. But I'm kind of like rushing to create a show here, and it is what it is. We'll get this thing back on the rails.
Okay. And
in order to get back on the rails, we're joined by the punctual prince of podcasting. From parts unknown Illinois, it's producer Tony.
What's up, everybody? How we doing
amazing.
tonight?
Everybody loves
Nicely done.
Tony.
Everybody loves Tony. I thought you were gonna Scott Hall walk into the screen.
I wish.
What's going on?
I don't have my chainmail. No, it's Scott Steiner. Never mind.
Different Scott.
That would have also been awesome, though.
How you guys doing? What's going on? It's 4th of July. I feel like we have 4th of July hangovers, even though 2/3 of us don't drink. Just like a weekend hangover. It's been a long, crazy week. I forgot that we were recording today.
Hot.
What'd you get? Hot. Absolutely.
Rough.
Tony, you went boating this week,
Whoa.
right?
I did. Yeah.
You bought a yacht with your Bitter Marks money?
You know what's better than owning a boat? Having a friend that owns a boat.
Ah, there you go.
So
that's the way to do it.
You get to have all the fun, and they get to do all the work and all the money.
I assume there was a lot of barnacle rubbing going on, and
there was rubbing, but it wasn't on the boat. If you know what I'm saying.
What's happening?
I do not, but I believe buoys are involved. I'm just trying to list boat stuff. Like, I'm not into boat stuff. Neither is my wife, but I'm just trying to come up with boat terms here.
I don't know. I don't know much about boating. Yeah, I was definitely port side
Anchor.
on the boat.
Sail.
What about you, Peewee? How was your 4th of July?
Did you go on any boats?
Harbor. Beach.
Captain Ron.
I saw Scottie Pippen on a boat once. How about that?
Were you also on? Were you on dueling boats? Like you passed him by in the dark of night?
Me and our dear listener Bellwood Bishop and his brother King Worm were at a Serbian parade in downtown Chicago, and we were standing right there on the edge of Lake Michigan, and then here comes a boat called Three Pete.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely was going to ask how you knew it was Scottie Pippen, but apparently it was obvious.
Well, I mean, he looked kind of like a large potato. That's how I would describe Scottie Pippen's face. He also had a handgun, I assume, on him. And he was complaining because Tony Kukoc was also in the same lake
He
with
was
a bigger boat.
on a different boat that actually scored.
No less than
Phil Jackson was
than
actually waving on Tony Kukoc's boat instead of Scottie Pippen's
Did you
boat.
see this?
It was
less than 12 minutes ago, I tweeted out a picture of Tony Kukoc.
No.
In what context?
I don't know. One of our
boat stuff.
A lot of boat
You
stuff.
don't know.
A lot of boat stuff.
How do you accidentally tweet a picture of Tony Kukoc?
I believe it was Will tweeted out a hi Tony, either a GIF or a picture, but he was referring to Tony Storm, I think, and I responded with a Tony Kukoc picture. That was it. Yeah, the explanation sucked, but the fact that it actually happened, 15 minutes ago was unbelievable.
I'm gonna like that tweet.
Yeah, this podcast episode is going to be called Mostly Boat Stuff, I'm pretty sure.
And Kukoc related topics.
My 4th of July, thank you guys for asking, was excellent. Friday night, my town had fireworks, which they apparently celebrate Bret Hart's birthday instead of the 4th of July. And then on Saturday, my wife decided that we were having a all-day fiesta of sorts.
I knew this.
Which started off by taking our dog to the vet.
Exciting.
Which is always a crazy trip. As you guys both know, my dog
I can imagine.
A little aggressive.
How many
dog
vets
came
did you go
out
through?
I mean, we're currently still on the first, but we're pretty sure that no one else will take us. Like, if anything ever happens with these people. So I'm always like, what do you guys want for lunch? Can I wash your cars? Can I wash your guys' boats? What needs to be done here? Are there any longshoremen in attendance? That's a double callback, I believe, to a previous episode. You guys remember when we talked about longshoremen?
Nope.
I think that was a Putski episode where he was on and filling in for me.
Oh, okay.
One of my contract disputes.
The person who remembers was not even on the episode. Excellent.
I listened to it. I remember listening to it. And I remember the longshoreman jokes.
So my dog actually escaped from its leash because my wife does not pay attention. And so then I tackled my dog. 40 pounds of fury is basically what my dog is. But we had been drugging the dog since the night previous. So I just looked like an asshole trying to attack a dog that like laid down and was just like staring at the back of its paw for 5 minutes. I think I angered a lot of people. We then went to a place called St. Charles, Illinois. A beautiful place if you get a chance. The NFL owners met there one time during a NFL lockout, I want to say. We had some moon pies next to a trash can. And then we went to the next town on our list. Eventually, we met up with you, Peewee, in Naperville. We had lunch. How was that? Did you have a good time?
It was great until my wife sat in gum, and that's not a euphemism.
Yeah, that might be that. I might have caused that.
We're aware. We're definitely aware.
Did you just spit it right on her chair right before she sat down, or what happened here?
So of course, I got there first. I am an early bird. I'm always punctual. That's what I'm known for. And there was like what I assumed was a straw wrapper on the table. It had the consistency of a straw wrapper. It was in a little ball, like a straw wrapper. It did not look like a piece of gum, so I flicked it off the table. When I flicked it, it did not have the density of a chewed piece of gum either. I still think it's just a tricky situation. But anyway, fast forward 30 minutes, and Pee-wee's wife is covered in gum. Just head to toe. And they're rubbing ice on her. They're rubbing peanut butter on her. I don't know what else was going on. They were like, they had a hair dryer going on. It was a tough situation. I'm not going to lie.
It was an ordeal.
How's she doing? Is she recovering?
Still in bed. We're about 4 days removed from when it happened, and she still has a fever. Still
thoughts and prayers.
Laid up, right?
Thoughts and prayers.
I think I owe you pants, but you're like the fourth person that I owe pants to. So like, I mean, just get in line, bring a lunch.
That works.
And then after that, we decided to go back to where I am from, the town that I live in, because the fest is going on. By the way, if I don't have COVID by now, I don't think we can get it, because I was in just a mob of people who don't care about COVID or anything. People just breathing under a tent in the humidity, standing in muck. It was.
I thought they canceled Glendale Heights Fest.
They did.
That's a joke.
They did. I noticed that too. But luckily, I moved to West Glendale Heights, where the party's still going strong. And then after that, I did have a deep fried Snickers. Oh, it was delicious.
Excellent.
And then we went home, and I got a text from our dear friend Dogan, who said, come over. So then we went to Dogan's house, and we saw our dear friend Will. We saw our dear friend Swick, who I gave him a VCR. He was very thankful for that. It was a good time. We stayed there a couple hours.
I was going to say, for a guy...
and nobody watched my dog.
For a guy that was so terrified to go out at all, or even discuss the option of
you're
going
making
out
up for
during
it.
the pandemic, you're absolutely making up for it very quickly.
Yeah, I mean... in my mind, it's all been a hoax this entire time. So I don't believe that anyone has truly had it. And so, whatever, I'm making up for lost time, apparently. I don't know. I would still rather stay inside if I could, but my wife had bigger plans for the weekend. So,
what was SWK's frame of mind after the bitter loss of the Billy Joe Travis Memorial
was he still
Crockett
feeling
Cup
the
Golf
effects of that?
Invitational Championship?
Yeah, still shaking. Still, his clothes didn't match even more than normal. He was, you could tell. I think he was drinking a little bit more. I'm a little worried about him, but I gave him this VCR, and I think that's going to turn things around for him. He was very excited to start watching old backyard wrestling tapes. So I think he'll be okay. Dogan, on the other hand, didn't even come out of the house. I'm surprised he had texted me.
He's a shut-in. Yeah.
He's furious. But the biggest thing that happened this 4th of July is I have this wasp nest. I need help with this wasp nest. Does anybody know how I can get down a 2nd-story wasp nest? My family is in danger. I'm a coward. You have a picture of this, Peewee?
I forgot to put it up. I'm working on it right now.
So is there currently wasps in the nest, or did you kill them all?
Oh yeah, no. There's been no death. There's just swarms, and I don't know how to get up there. I don't own a ladder. Right. I don't own a pressure washer. I have a hose, but it comically has holes throughout it, so it just like has no air pressure. I don't have a 12-foot long stick. Hey-o! So how do I get this? What have you guys done? I've taken down like 6-foot wasp nests. I mean, like ones you could reach, but this thing is out of control. Do I have to call somebody? How expensive is a wasp? I got so many questions.
Yeah, I don't know.
How far is it from the short roof to the tall roof?
That's a distance. He can't do
20 feet. Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't help.
No, and I'm afraid if I don't poke it from like the side where my door is, you see it, like in the back, then I'm poking it closer to my house. You know what I mean?
Sure, if you want to poke it away. I mean, I guess I don't really think it's going to matter. If it goes towards your house, it's fine. Just as long as they don't have your door open or your garage open when you're doing this. You'll be.
Yeah, Bishop in the chat, he said, they do make that 20-foot spray to kill the wasps. That's going to be like
a $15 item. So yeah, I would go pick that up.
That's step one. Step one is killing the wasp, because if you knock that down, even like accidentally, they're gonna go on a murder rampage and try and kill you. So you gotta. I know this is gonna hurt you, but you gotta take care of those wasps first. You cannot go poking on that thing with wasps still alive.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is like, I know I have to keep my door closed. I have to keep the garage door closed, but then where do I go? Like, I have to just sprint away? How does this work?
You gotta deal with it.
How far do I have to run, like, before a wasp gets tired of chasing me?
It depends
like if we run 100 yards, that's
I've got to wait.
How long is 100 yards for the wasp?
You can definitely. That's interesting. Relatively speaking, is 100 yards for you the same as 100 yards for a wasp, or because they're smaller, is that like 1,000 yards? That's interesting. I want the answer to that question. My other suggestion would be either leave the house at the same time Megan leaves the house every day, and that way you're going to save yourself as long as you're quicker than her. I don't know what's going to happen to her, but as long as you're sprinting and she's not, you'll be in good shape. Oh, there's a good... Hattori Hanzo has a great idea in the chat.
Yeah. He just nailed it.
Call BDI.
Yep. He's got ladders. He needs money. He'll be there like 2 o'clock tomorrow. No problem.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Buzz that idiot.
That's the answer.
Which is the new BDI. All right,
And
guys.
don't kill the wasp first. Let him deal with it.
I mean, they're gonna get him. He doesn't have sleeves, I assume. Like they're gonna be all up his arm. I'm gonna give you guys. Let me do this. Yeah, I'll give you guys two options here. One, we can talk about how my smaller truck, the brakes went out
Jesus.
while I was driving.
While you were driving.
Or, since it seems to be a hot topic over there in 2/3 of Bitter Marks land, we can talk about my comedy escapades this week.
Yeah, there's more. There's more. Tony, I want to hear.
Oh, you went back?
I want to hear about the stand-up. Do you want to hear about the stand-up?
Yeah, I mean, brakes going out. I mean, you
yeah,
made
clearly
it, so
you're alive. Blah blah blah. Story
it's fine.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only went one time last week. With the 4th of July and stuff, a lot of stuff was canceled, postponed, blah, blah, blah. So I was only able to go out once. I did a bar show, and it was very rough. I murdered myself.
So what's a bar show? You're just performing for people at a bar?
Yeah, it's like a different crowd than if you're at a club show. Like the first show I did was at a comedy club. So granted, most of the people there were comedians anyway. In theory, it's like more people are there expecting comedy. Whereas if you go to a bar show, it's drunk people who are at a bar. A lot of them don't know that a comedy show is going on. It was kind of cool because there were more regular people than comedians. So you actually do get, to talk in front of people who aren't there just to do their own stuff. But and like some stuff hits, some stuff doesn't. But it's crazy. It's like stuff that got big laughs the week before got crickets this week, and I'm like, well, so all right, did I say it differently? How did I set this thing up? Is it just not funny? Did I just get lucky because it's comedians last week? They were just being nice. So it's just like a whole bunch of thoughts that go through your mind while you do this stuff. And it wasn't horrible, but it was definitely a different experience. And I think I did better the first time.
Okay.
Any other questions before we move on?
I'm very happy that you went back a second time. I think that's a big step. Like, it's one thing to just go out and do it, but the fact that you went back after the first time and showed that you're going to be doing it, I'm very proud of you. Is there...
I imagine that's a tougher crowd.
It has to be. Yeah.
Yeah. People are just there to get, drunk. Yeah. They're not there to laugh. Like, when you go to a comedy show, you want to laugh, right?
Yeah, you're a little bit prepared mentally for...
Yeah, I feel like...
you go to the bar, you're not looking to listen to the funny guy up on the mic.
Yeah.
Or the not funny guy on the mic, in my case.
Don't be discouraged. I think that's a rough room and a rough situation. So.
Not discouraged, just like you hear the horror stories, and most people are like, you're just trying stuff and you're going to bomb most of the time. That's what it is. It's like trying to figure out the little things. So I'm not discouraged about it. It was just like when you feel it, it's different than when you hear about it. So it wasn't too bad. I have 2 set up for this week already, tomorrow and the next day.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So got that going, and maybe next week's podcast might be postponed. So we'll get to that at a later time.
Fantastic.
I did get my Billy Joe Travis snippet in the mail. I forgot to send you this, Peewee, so I'll hold it up.
That works.
It is Billy Joe Travis.
Is this the newspaper clipping?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bloody mess. It's a magazine. I think this has to be from either Continental or like World Class. But he is a bloody mess. I don't recognize the people in the ring with him, but it says Billy Joe Travis, good looks are obscured by a bloody head wound. We'll tweet that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That should be his autobiography, the name of his book.
Absolutely.
Sasha, I don't know if you want me to draw attention to this, but CU Comedy in the chat and I believe they're being serious, they just said, I have a bar show I need a opener for tomorrow. Requires experience, which now you have a plethora of.
Yeah, I think we got a book.
Are we driving to Champaign tomorrow?
No, I appreciate it. If I didn't already commit to somebody else to do an open mic. See, I'm already turning people down here.
Look at this. Everybody wants a piece of you. Yeah.
I will definitely reach out when it is time. But,
you had your chance, CU Comedy. He's been begging to do your stuff for months. Now, all of a sudden, now he's a big shot, and you want a piece of the man, and you can't have that piece.
We wanted to come down 4 years ago when you had Akeem and Sam Houston. I think they did a show down there. It's an open mic, no pay. Oh no, I'm out. Big time money over
Me
here.
and Tony will do it.
I got jokes.
We should do that and film it. Film both of our sets and then play them next week and see
I would love
how
this.
bad they all are. Next up, I wanted to bring up that I guess the day that this podcast drops, this upcoming Friday, I want to say is July 9th.
Yeah.
And since that is right in the middle of this podcast episode and next podcast episode, big shout out Producer Tony. It's Producer Tony's birthday. Woo, 23.
Yep.
Oh,
Again.
So I stopped by Producer Tony's work today, which was hilarious because I had a little gift to give him. And it's just a little something that I thought would make him laugh. You could throw it immediately in the trash if you would like to.
It is still sealed.
Oh, you
I
haven't
did not
opened it. I
open
love this game.
Nope.
The worst part was Producer Tony works in a pretty high security building.
Sure.
And I was just roaming through their parking lot with a box looking very confused.
Very Serbian and suspicious.
You're like, oh, this box isn't ticking. Don't worry about it. All right, yeah.
So Tony's
It was
currently
great to-
going at the box with a wrench or a screwdriver, I believe.
Okay,
It's
excellent.
the sharpest thing I had on me here. Yeah, it was great to see you, Sash.
You too.
I thought we were going to do lunch, but I guess you had a truck incident, so maybe we'll reschedule that for next time.
Yeah, I went to work and you know how that goes. So
Here we go.
all right, wrapped
yeah.
in some brown masking tape.
Oh,
yeah, get that
I
masking
got
paper in there.
I got some Bitter Mark stickers. Look at this.
Son of a bitch.
I got-
Son of a
Happy
bitch. I was
birthday.
literally going to drop the half the stack that I have off on his birthday. God damn it.
That's awesome. And there's something else in here.
All right, so it's a little bit confusing.
That is a John Cena NWO figure? Is that what
Wow.
I'm
I
saying?
literally
Look at this.
cannot see it, but the...
Sorry, hold on. Let me turn off this stupid
there you go.
bullshit.
I know the... Wow, that's awesome. I know the figure... Have you seen this figure?
No, this is the. I didn't even know this
That's
existed.
what I'm saying. This is awesome. So
this-
does it have a window on it, or does he have to like tear it open to see it?
No,
It
there's
does
no
have a
window.
It does.
Well, you can.
Yeah, it does. There's a little spot on there that you
So
can
you got to
open
take
the
it out of the
flap.
plastic first, Tony. You got to.
Yeah.
It's in
Oh,
a,
is this okay? Can I open the clamshell here?
yeah,
that
that's not
was
sealed.
Just, I think protection
Wow,
as the that
you
thing.
spared no expense on this thing.
So I saw it and I was like, Tony's either gonna love this or be confused by it.
No, I think
if you
he
remember
loves this.
WrestleMania 36 when
Don't even
he
say
fought
anything.
the
Just
Fiend.
let him open it and see what it is. If he,
I have to rip this open.
I was
by the
gonna say
way.
I didn't
This is
think
like-
it had a window on it. I think it is sealed.
It
sealed.
does, but it's serrated.
Yeah, it's
So,
not
like-
Velcroed like they normally do. You literally have to break it. It's a one-time open thing.
You know what?
Yeah.
This is how I roll,
yeah.
Sash.
Listen, you live your life. You do you. It's your gift.
Oh my god, that is fantastic. And I will definitely tweet a picture of this. I know
Yeah,
you guys
if you're
see
not
it, it's
watching
very...
on YouTube, it's the figure of John Cena, but he's dressed like he was at WrestleMania 36. You said, was that the number?
Yeah, so he fought the Fiend, and then they did like that weird
Yeah, the vignette. I remember
Firefly Funhouse match. And at one point, John Cena comes out as like a Hollywood Hogan. So in this figure, I believe he's playing the championship belt, which is the NWO spray painted belt. He's playing it like a guitar. It also comes with additional hands with the two suites.
Wow, that's great.
It does, yes.
And I think it also has like on the inside, if you open it up, it has the backdrop like it
Nitro.
did in the like the WrestleMania 36 vignette or whatever. So you can open it if you want. You can toss
That's
it in the
incredible.
trash. There's actually more in that box. Did you happen to see the brown box?
There's more.
Unless I kept.
Jeez, there's more.
Hold on.
This one I saw and I couldn't
Wow.
pass this up. it's a mask and it fits on your face, and it is John Cena.
It's got John Cena wristbands. Look at this.
That's the main event of this gift. That's fantastic.
This is amazing, Sasha. Thank you
Halloween
so much.
costume check. Weekend costume check.
I hope you'll be wearing that at SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
Or whenever I see you next at work, or whatever it is you do. But
I'm wearing it to work tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Producer Tony. Everybody, please send Producer Tony gifts. That's what
Thank
this
you.
whole thing is about.
Thank you, Sash.
No problem. And let's talk a little bit about some wrestling figures since we're at it right now. Peewee, you sent me a list of, we've been talking about them for weeks now, those heels and faces figures by Zombie Sailor. Yeah. You actually sent me a list of most of the people who he has signed.
Yeah, last week I said that there was a huge list of guys. Right now they've got Series 1 out and pre-ordering. Series 2, we guessed that they had enough guys for Series 2. They have enough guys for like Series 20.
So King Kong Bundy's in there. Brooklyn Brawler, which is a good one. Some of them I have zero interest in, like... I don't know, Swoggle. I'm not going to get a Swoggle figure. I'm not going to get a Doc Gallows figure. But Barry Horowitz.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm going to get a Paul Roma and Hercules. Todd Pettengill gets a figure.
That's a cool one. I like that.
Rock and Roll Express. Enzo Amore. Kevin Sullivan, which we can send to our dear friend Will. Bruiser
boys.
Brody,
Oh,
which by this point...
Look at Tony with the John Cena wristbands and salute.
And then, of course, we talked One Man Gang.
Yeah.
We talked Jeff Jarrett, which I didn't realize he had basically, during the old days of the WWF Hasbro figures, there was supposed to be a Jeff Jarrett figure, which got canceled.
Yeah.
And so now he basically found the actual prints from the artist, the color scheme, all that kind of stuff. And now he's recreating it in the same way, just with his... quote unquote better sculpt.
It's not even a better sculpt. They're using the exact same sculpt that they had they have the original drawings. And more so, they have the guy designing them that designed them back in the day. It's the same guys. He's a legend from like the toy industry. This guy made the G.I. Joes. He sculpted the original Hasbros. He's a legend in outside of just wrestling, in just toys in general. The guy's name is Ron Rudett, and he's an absolute legend. And so Zombie has reached out to him, and they are working together to bring this line to the surface.
Who is this zombie guy? Like, where did he come from? Is he just like a collector that got big?
That's my understanding. He was just a big-time collector and dealer, and then got hooked up with Cardona and Myers, and then all of a sudden just decided he wanted to start making his own figure line. And everybody was, I don't want to say doubting him, but like, okay, sure, if that's what you want to do, go nuts. Nobody really thought it was going to amount to anything, and now he has sold a ton of the first series. I just heard on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast today that he's already paid the talent for Series 1, which is unheard of. The figures aren't out yet, but he's already paid the guys, which is... So it shows that he is serious about this and that this is actually happening. It's insane. And John in the chat is saying that Zombie signed 2 more guys today. Do you have any idea who those were?
I know who one of them was. And we're all going to get this figure. Brother Slick.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
He made a video. Slick made a video saying like he signed with... I'm not sure who the other guy was.
Okay. John, if you know who it is, throw it in the chat.
I do like the Jeff Jarrett figure because it's the one where he's got like the straps down the front. Did I send you that picture? Oh, excellent. Yeah, that's going to be an awesome painted picture at some point.
That's a figure right there. Like that's the Jarrett that we know with the straps that nobody else could even consider handling. Oh, Mr. Hughes. And Mr. Hughes is the other one.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
I've been watching some old ECW with Mr. Hughes and Raws from '93. He was in there. He actually wrestled somebody from ECW. Oh, it was Scotty 2 Hotty, whatever Scotty 2 Hotty's name was in 1993, like Scott Hudson or whatever. Yeah, that's good stuff. I feel like Bruiser Brody is an overdone figure at this point, but whatever Zombie's doing, I mean, he's doing some cool stuff, and like you want to support him because of like the things that you hear, like he's already paid these guys and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's great.
I've heard nothing bad about it. He opened up the sales to international guys to be able to ship to them. I've heard nothing bad. I just, again, I need to see these in person first before I start spending $40 a piece.
I wonder how he's going to adjust going into the next series. Will there be less of them because they didn't sell as well originally?
Sure.
Will there be more because they sold a lot of them?
That's a good question.
What are they going to do? So.
Do you have anything else on figures? I had one more thing I wanted to touch
No.
on. I came across a
good.
picture on Facebook that I wanted to show you guys. It's not Hasbro wrestling figures, but it is wrestling figure related. Look at this collection of ECW. I believe it's a combination of like just regular straight up Mattel releases combined with custom pieces. This is the entire ECW roster.
Wow. That Public Enemy is cool.
The more you look at this, the cooler it is.
Yeah.
There's a Sinister Minister with the Mikey, with both Mikeys, red hair and then dark hair. The FBI is up here.
EWO.
Up here is.
Oh wow, the FBI is like 8 deep. That's
goes
awesome.
all the way across. Yeah, even JT
JT
Smith.
Yeah,
That's great. He's got Pillman in there. There's a good Steve Carino over here. There's Sabu. There's a C.W. Anderson, Simon D. Like literally anybody that was in ECW is in this collection. I was just blown away when I saw this.
They got Joe Gertner. I can't see. It's really small on my screen.
Gotcha. Let's see.
Where's Kid Cash? I need a Kid Cash.
I see Roadkill and Dorian over here. I don't see Gertner. I'm sure he's in here.
It's like Where's Waldo,
Yeah,
guys.
right?
Find Gertner and then tweet at
BWO
Bitter
looks
Marks.
fantastic over here.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Peewee, do you happen to have anything on our dear boy Jimmy Del Rey? And I'm going to tell you, if you don't, this might be the last time we talk Jimmy Del Rey.
My.
You're out of facts.
That was
I have a fact, but it's going to be rough.
Will
you save it?
Like I said, I had a very busy day today. I did nothing. I had no time to do anything until we literally sat down, 2 minutes before we fired up the mics. No, I have 0 on Jimmy Del Rey this week.
Oof. All right, then. Strap on in, fellas, because, let me just, I guess I'll give a little warning here. If you don't like stories of potential sexual abuse, maybe this is not something you listen to.
How many times are you going to say the word allegedly in this segment here?
Listen, I said it once, and it goes for the whole podcast. Here we go. Alleged sexual abuse story. And we will probably stop celebrating the gigolo Jimmy Del Rey after this one. But it is alleged, so everyone is innocent until proven guilty. After a WWF house show in December 1994 in Anaheim, California, a female fan was spotted in a hotel bar with both gigolo Jimmy Del Rey and any guesses? Partner in crime?
94, huh?
Tatanka.
Fantastic.
So this lady's spotted with the two of them, and the next morning, in the hotel hallway, there is blood smeared all over the walls.
Jesus.
And the female has half of her head shaven.
Great.
No, Peewee, you don't have a picture of this. It was alleged that Tatanka and Jimmy Del Rey had drugged the lady with Halcyon and sexually assaulted her. Tatanka was suspended for 6 months without pay while the investigation was going on, and Jimmy Del Rey was ultimately fired.
Wow.
Tatanka would return to the company, presumably innocent, quotes, allegedly, presumably, whatever, after that suspension. I listened to a Kevin Nash shoot interview, saw one, or at least a clip of it on YouTube, where he says that he believes Tatanka was like just in the very wrong place at the very wrong time. And he believes that this was all the doing of the gigolo Jimmy Del Rey. If you're listening to this on the live YouTube chat, you're going to want to check out this Friday. I will play the audio from that clip where Kevin Nash calls Halcyon H-bombs and basically blames Jimmy Del Rey.
Wow.
And that's about it. So I don't have a fun one there for you.
No, that's
Okay,
definitely
that's
not
the
fun.
last time we bring up Jimmy Del Rey on this podcast.
Yeah, don't put that GIF up there.
right.
Well,
So
that's,
Peewee, that was your fault.
all right.
That whole section.
Here,
that
does
was
this
'cause of
fix
you.
it? I found Gertner.
You found Gertner. We did it.
That definitely
There you go.
fixes
Thank
it.
you, John, in the chat for pointing that out.
Good
All
eye.
right, let's
Good eye,
do
Joe. John.
some wrestling tidbits here for you. Terry Funk, bad news. A little update came out today on Terry Funk. There was a tweet that said, yes, Mr. Terry Funk is currently receiving residential care for his multiple health issues, which do affect his mind as well as the rest of his body. As you can imagine, some days are better than others. He and his family appreciate all your kind words. Rumor is he is suffering from dementia, and it's been really bad ever since his wife passed away last year or 2 years ago or whenever it was. Just sad to hear.
Yeah, that sucks.
WWE tweeted out some love. We are huge Terry Funk supporters
I like
on
that
this.
they did that. That's nice. Usually
it's
they
very
only
nice of
acknowledge
them.
guys when if they acknowledge them, it's when they pass. They never acknowledge them when it's just like a personal thing that's going on, whether it be illness or not. They usually don't. As far as I remember, I can't think of a single instance where they did, where it was a guy who wasn't under contract. That's interesting.
And speaking of
Actually, I take
contracts,
that back. They did just wish when Renee. I was gonna say Dupree.
okay, but this is kind of half and half.
When Renee and John Moxley had their baby, the WWE tweeted out they congratulated Renee on having the baby, who also was not with the company at the time, but they did not mention Moxley. So they at least mentioned one of them who was not with the company. So it's kind of the same thing.
Sure it is.
All right.
Here's a little nugget for you. When Terry Funk signed with WCW in 2000, you remember that? The end of WCW?
This was a big deal. I remember watching Nitro, tuning in just because it was announced that Terry Funk was going to be on Nitro.
He was still under contract to the WWF.
Wow.
At this point.
And they definitely announced it beforehand.
Jeez.
What?
And the thing was, he didn't even know. Like,
what?
He hadn't been on WWF TV since 1998, but there was some renewal of his contract that he had no clue because he wasn't going there. And apparently, like, WWF didn't really, care or whatever, and Terry Funk just showed up anyway, and WWF granted him his release so that he could show up and do the shows or whatever.
I didn't know that.
Just thought it was an interesting nugget, speaking of contracts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then I was talking to our dear friend Bishop, who wanted just to confirm with me, because he doesn't remember his Mount Rushmore that he gave us. And I don't remember it either. I do remember Harley Race being in it.
Okay. I delete everything
I assume,
of memory from the show as soon as we end the podcast.
He said in his Mount Rushmore, which I believe to be Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Jeff Jarrett, and the DCWA's own Jeremy Wright. I guess I was incorrect. He said for sure he wants the world to know that Terry Funk is in his Mount Rushmore.
Okay, appreciate it.
So he said Terry Funk, Macho Man, Harley Race, and Ricky Steamboat. He said that Jeff Jarrett is not even in his top 4 wrestlers who used guitars, which then put me in a spiral here trying to figure out who exactly was in his Mount Rushmore. And we will have our Mount Rushmores of people who use guitars next week.
That.
Del Wilkes, a.k.a. the Patriot, passed away this week at 59 years old from a heart attack. Heart, not Bret Hart attack. Del Wilkes, the Patriot. I have nothing for Del Wilkes. I'm sorry. I know the Patriot more as Matt Longtime.
Yeah, absolutely the same. The same response from me. Does this affect Longtime's ability or anybody else's ability to be the Patriot on the Indies?
Oh, good call. I didn't even think of that. Like, people know it's not.
I don't know.
Do
I
people
don't know. And like, if people don't know that it's not Del Wilkes under the mask, do they know that Del Wilkes has passed? Like, if they're not smart enough to know that it's Longtime or somebody else with hopefully a similar build to Del Wilkes, if they don't know that, then would they even be up to speed as far as the?
Give it like 3 months and everybody will forget that he died.
I do agree with that. You're as horrible as that is, you're exactly right.
Yep. Can there be like a zombie Patriot gimmick?
Jesus.
If there is, AEW will put it on TV, that's for sure.
All right. Well, on a lighter note, Jimmy Uso arrested for his 3rd DUI.
I heard it was his 5th. No, that I can't confirm. I can't confirm that. And we shouldn't be laughing at this guy's dismay.
No, we can. This is a Sam Houston situation.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's lost.
The
count.
guy needs a problem.
He is a problem.
His cousin is Roman Reigns, so he believes that he could drink and drive and just be like, my cousin is Roman Reigns. Allegedly, I'm just throwing that out.
We don't
there.
know if his cousin is really Roman Reigns, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just. I think it's super, super irresponsible. This is something that I used to do. I mean, daily back in the day, and now I despise people who are drinking and driving, especially if you have the money and the ease of which that Uber is out there. It's just a matter of. I don't know what it is. My guess is it's just laziness. Like, okay, I'm at a bar. I'm kind of hammered, but I can probably drive. I could get an Uber, but that means tomorrow I'm gonna have to come get my car. I'll wing it. I'll be fine behind the wheel. I know all of this is me just speculating, but this kind of stuff really pisses me off.
Do you think that he's just trying to calm things down with the police, and he's like, oos, and they're like, you're clearly wasted, sir.
You're saying he was completely sober when he got pulled over?
Yeah, he's just
every other word is oos,
like brother,
yeah, something
or
like that,
cousin,
yeah.
or whatever. So he's just like calling the officer oos, and the officer thinks that he just can't speak.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, you're exactly. I was just reading the comment by CU Comedy in the chat. The great point about Doink being all over the indies after Matt Bourne passed away.
AEW tickets go on sale if you're listening to this on our audio podcast today, Friday, July 9th. They're coming to Chicago. They're doing 3 shows in Chicago.
Whoa.
They're doing their Wednesday night Dynamite. They're doing the pay-per-view All Out, which is on Sunday. And then they are also, there's a debut show, a show that they're debuting on TBS, I want to say in August. I could be wrong on that.
Thunder. Please tell me it's called Thunder.
It is the Thunder of AEW. It's a Friday night show, going up against SmackDown. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just guessing. Okay. But
good. I was just thinking that we don't have enough wrestling during the week.
That's what I'm saying. And so, what do you think, Peewee? How many of these are we going to as a group of friends?
The best shot that you have of me showing up to one of these is
Thunder.
Is if DDP is doing a fan fest thing sometime during this week, and Steph needs a ride there. Otherwise, I'm not going to any of this.
Well, then I'm tweeting at DDP Yoga or whatever his name is. DDP Oos. Producer Tony, do you have any interest in going to any of these things?
You know what? I actually you might be able to talk me into it, depending on how much the tickets are.
I'm with you. Ticket price makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I'm normally a ticket snob where I like to sit closer, but I am seeing the type of people who go to AEW shows and sit closer, and so I'm okay sitting further away, maybe eat a pretzel.
Maybe just be in the parking lot, maybe not be around those people in the AEW
now,
show.
I did hear that with Raw returning to Chicago as well sometime in the near future at Allstate was charging, it wasn't WWE, it was just Allstate, so I don't know if this applies to Sears Center as well, but just be wary that Allstate ticket prices were almost 3 times what they were pre-pandemic, simply because Allstate's just trying to make their money back in the time that they missed. And
all right, I'll see you guys at the Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm not going to that 3 times price.
Yeah, me too. Putski's in though, so if I can entice you with a Putski, that would be awesome. I think we can get a couple more people to go as well. Whatever, who cares? AEW is dying. It's over. Wrestling sucks. What are we going to talk about when we're done watching wrestling? It's coming soon. I didn't watch Raw this week, and I have no plans
None of us watched wrestling when we first... Well, I guess you did, but Tony and I definitely did not watch wrestling and still don't watch wrestling while this podcast was going on and while we started it.
So what do we do when I stop?
It's an hour long... It's an hour talk about Billy Joe Travis.
Yeah. And trucking.
How are the brakes? Yeah. What happened with the brakes? Save those good stories.
All right. Peewee, you retweeted something about milking fingers on Twitter, and I don't know what it is and why you retweeted it. And can you just walk us through this situation?
So as much as I dislike AEW, I love Max Caster. He's the guy who comes to the ring, rapping.
He's a good rapper.
He's very good.
Says this white middle-aged man.
Agreed. Yes. Based on what we know, he's very good. But he was originally his thing on the indies, and he tried to do it on AEW, but they told him no, especially during the pandemic, is he would hold his fingers up like a V, and he would walk around to fans, and they would scissor him with like your fingers. So you'd you'd scissor each other. Then AEW tells him, no, you can't just walk, you can't be scissoring I'm doing the scissoring thing on the YouTube. You can't be doing that on our TNT TV show. You got to stop the scissoring. So then, I think his partner, I don't know, what's his partner's name? Anthony? Apparently it's Anthony. According to this tweet, it's Anthony. So Anthony does like fingers down, and then all Max Caster does comes up behind him and starts milking his fingers into the camera. To which AEW then again said, please stop doing that.
All right, we got to go to whichever show they are on.
This guy needs his own show.
That's what I'm saying. This guy's good stuff. I don't care about AEW, but Max Caster knows what he's doing.
This is a poor joke, but I was going to say his brother was Min Caster. Min and Max Caster.
I like it.
That's a lie and a shame. Hey, let's talk about something that happened many weeks ago. I wanted to talk about two of them. Well, I guess we could just plow through them pretty quickly here. Most Wanted Treasures on A&E. We've talked about this show a bunch. It's a rigged show where they collect memorabilia from Greg the Hammer Valentine to Greg the Larger Hammer Valentine. Whatever. The show, it's kind of cheesy, but it's kind of cool to see the stuff that they're going after. I don't need Stephanie McMahon telling me about stuff. I don't need Triple H on there. Fake contacting The Undertaker like they've done. Just give me the guys going around and seeing people's collections. I really liked it. But the last two episodes that they showed were two of my favorite ones. One was Andre the Giant and one was Ric Flair. And now you're probably saying, well, yeah, that's two of the like better people in wrestling that you're more interested in.
Legends.
But I thought they were interesting because they were 2 hours long. I believe the rest of them were an hour long. And they kind of did like a biography while they were doing the show. So like you got to learn about Andre and, you know, his early life and what happened to him, why he was so big and all that stuff. And then, okay, now he goes to the States and okay, he lives over here. And now all of a sudden he has these health issues and he's traveling. And so you get to learn a lot about him. And one thing that really stuck out to me was something that I've seen the figures for, I've seen pictures of before. It was Andre the Giant as Giant Machine. And so I think what happened here was he went to shoot the Princess Bride at this point. And when he was gone to shoot the Princess Bride, he was obviously not in the wrestling world or whatever. But then they kind of, when he was coming back, they did this thing where it's clearly Andre the Giant.
You can't hide Andre the Giant.
And the other guy is Axe, right? From Demolition.
I meant to look that up. I was going to ask you who the other guy in Machines was. Is it Axe?
I believe it was Axe. But also, they do like a bunch of other gimmicks where they had... So like Giant Machine is obviously Andre the Giant. They had a Hulk Machine, which was clearly Hulk Hogan with the mask. They had... Machine.
That's great.
Like Rowdy Machine, which was clearly Rowdy Piper.
I love
and
this.
Like all these guys, yeah. You clearly knew who they all were, but it was just this cool.
This is the indie
thing.
gimmick. This is the Patriot. This is the new Patriot.
Yeah, this is the Moondogs on a grand scale.
That's right.
I love it. Have you ever
worked a show
what do
with,
you know
with a
about
machine?
This?
I know very little. I know that I know everything that was said in the documentary, the A&E show. Vince liked it so much that he brought it over to WWE and again tried to pass Andre off as someone who wasn't Andre, which is not a thing. But I don't know as far as like the logistics of it, as far as what happened in Japan and how he was able to do it. I don't know a ton about this.
and our friend John is asking. He says I've never watched. Do they ever go into the WWE warehouse? They do,
Yeah.
and that's an interesting part of it. Is like they talk to these collectors, and some of the collectors are just like, yeah, you can have this Mick Foley flannel, but I need a tour of the warehouse. And so they go in and they show you. I mean, obviously they're not going to show you everything, but they show you cool things. There's like a wall that's just Undertaker caskets, and you're like, why? They're keeping this? Well, like, unbelievable. And the stuff that they've kept is unbelievable. There's so much clothing and boots and stuff like that. And so they were saying, like, it's weird because Andre the Giant, I mean, what does he have? He has the black strap, like, singlet. You could get his boots to show how big his boots are, but there's not a lot of stuff on there. So Stephanie McMahon, she's a genius. She came up with this great idea. What about his passport? Because he traveled more than any other wrestler, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Well, they found a passport, but the person didn't want to give up the passport. And then they found another one that just happens to be in like this Andre the Giant museum in his hometown.
See, that's the part of the show. I mean, obviously the whole show's a work.
Yeah.
But that's the part that it just takes me out of it. You can't. A random thought cannot be, hey, where is Andre's passport? Yeah, right. I'm also not paying attention to what our conversation is, and definitely paying attention to the chat where CU Comedy just came up with the idea of chicken machine and huevos machine.
Yes.
Huevos machine for life. This is why I can't go down to CU Comedy. I'm gonna get destroyed down there. Like, look how funny they are. Yeah, the passport thing was kind of like, okay, all right. But the cool part that comes out of it is he had a home in like North Carolina, like a big, I mean, like acres and acres of land. It was like a farmland. It reminded him of his home in France. And so there's like it's this tiny small town, whatever, hillbillies that have like this little museum that has Andre the Giant stuff in there, including passports, including other stuff, including one of the Giant Machine masks. I might be confusing this a little bit, but I believe they got their Giant Machine mask from there because early in the show, they try to get a Giant Machine mask because you know who has one? It's a man who lives in the middle of Iowa for no reason. Sonny Ono, former WCW manager.
Wow.
Sonny Ono, who for some reason lives in Iowa, decided that's the place I want to spend my life. He has one of, I feel like they said 2 Giant Machine masks. And he was like, oh yeah, here it is in my basement. You can look at it. Sonny Ono has, especially recently within the past couple years, it's been alleged that he's kind of like a shakedown guy.
Okay.
So like he's kind of the manager for guys like Ultimo Dragon, Great Sasuke, I believe is it the hot dog guy? Yeah.
God damn it.
Joey Chestnut, all kinds of guys. And so he's like the middleman, if you will. And so GCW, the Fed we always talk about, the hardcore guys, they've had deals in place with guys like Sasuke and I think Ultimo Dragon as well. And then Sonny Ono comes in and says, oh, no, we need more money. After agreements were made, after payments were made, after reservations were bought, there's some stuff that came out because a bunch of promoters were like, oh, yeah, this is what Sonny Ono does. So a bunch of people went after him at that point. And it was included, like, he wanted WrestleMania tickets. He wanted, like, tickets to Disney, like, during WrestleMania weekend, like, all kinds of stuff to be thrown in. Which, whatever,
I like it.
I don't care. That would be great if it happened before they paid him and had agreements and started advertising for the guy, but that is what it is. So anyway, they go to Sonny Ono's basement, and he's like, oh, yeah, you can have the mask if you win it in an auction.
That we're going to do
and
right
then he
now.
sets up an online auction.
Wow.
And by online, he just means like a Skype call with 4 other dudes.
Yeah. And it was horrible. And the Big Show, who is in this episode with Mark Henry, that's the 2 guys who are going after all this merch. And Big Show is like, I've learned things from Vince, so I'll do this auction.
He did say that, yeah.
And he gets in there and he loses immediately.
That's true.
And then he's like, sorry, guys. So they go back empty-handed. Eventually they got it. I want to say from that museum or whatever.
Right.
Eventually they got that passport. Like, who cares? What came out of this for me was Mark Henry is a very, very sensitive
Emotional
man.
guy. Every time they cut to him, he was just in tears.
Literal tears, crying, and like couldn't believe that he was touching Andre's stuff, which is good for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
nothing against him.
like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of it. It was just like a big part of the show. It's like every time they turned around, Mark Henry was on a bench with his head down.
It's true. It just wasn't the Mark Henry that we were used to seeing at all.
Yeah, the world's most sensitive man.
Yep.
It was good stuff.
What I got out of this A&E show, I watched it with Connor. This 2-hour thing. I mean, he's 6 years old, right? Getting him to watch 2 hours of anything, even an animated movie, is not the easiest thing to do. I told him I had an Andre show to watch. I told him how long it was, that it was 2 hours, and he got super excited and wanted to watch the entire thing. So we watched it, and it's not an easy watch for a kid, for a 6-year-old at least. There's nothing adult in it, but they talk about Andre's death. And we haven't gone down the death path with Connor too much. But this show allowed us to open that door and kind of talk about death with Connor. So much so that this was either last night or the night before when we were putting him to bed. I was reading him a story, and he was telling me about his new project he wants to do. He knows I have pictures of him on my phone with wrestlers, with Cardona and Swoggle and Kevin Nash and Boogeyman. He's like, can we print those out and can I put them on like a poster or a corkboard or something? Can I put those on display in my room? I said, of course. He's like, well, how do you? And then he asked me, he's like, how can we get a picture with Andre? I said, buddy, we can't. He's gone. And he said, well, I know how we could do it. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. He said, can we go to Paris and take a picture at his grave? Which I was right. Which I was like, what is happening? Yeah,
your little boy is all grown up.
Yeah, he was dead serious about it. It was, yeah, I was very interested. I mean, with Steph's eyes lit up because she's like, Paris? Yeah, let's go get this picture. Absolutely. But
yeah, we'll spend 10 minutes at the grave and then we'll just be in Paris.
I just thought it was very cool that's what Connor wanted to do.
That is so wholesome.
Right? Good kid.
Wow.
But see, it's also like everybody can kind of, I mean, I don't want to say relate's not the word I'm looking for, but everybody can kind of get interested into an Andre the Giant story because he is more than a wrestler. Like Megan came down and I was watching this thing and she sat down and started watching the part of WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre.
Oh, even like the wrestling part, not even like the Princess Bride part. Okay.
Yeah, the wrestling part. She walked down and she saw like the huge crowd and I was like, oh yeah, there's 90,000 people there or whatever. This was WrestleMania 3. That Andre, this is when he kind of passed the torch to Hogan, blah, blah, blah. And so she sat down and she started watching. And then I was like, watch, Hogan's going to try and lift him up, but it's going to be too much. His back is going to hurt. And it did. And he sells the back and now how's he going to do it? His back has clearly been weakened. He can't slam him now. And so I was kind of explaining to her, like, this is what wrestling is. This is the story that these guys are telling. You watch this. Like, this match is not the greatest match in the world, but watch what they're trying to do without doing very much at all. And then the slam, and when she saw the slam, she was like, whoa, which is
that's awesome.
The biggest response that she has
ever
great. Done, besides, like, turn this off or whatever, go to hell, like, those types of things. So it's like, the normal person can watch an Andre the Giant, whether it's documentary, whether it's match, because you look at him and you just go, man, what an incredible dude. But I love that Giant Machine stuff, and look for the Huevos Machine shirts coming very, very soon. The next one up was the Ric Flair edition, which was also 2 hours. Ric Flair was in it. Great stuff. They also went down interesting conversations. They talked about the Ric Flair plane crash. Producer Tony, have you ever seen Ric Flair before the plane crash?
Yeah, he was like a bodybuilder back then, right? Yeah, he was huge.
Guy.
Yeah,
there he is. And obviously after the crash, which it was amazing that they survived. Was it Davy Crockett? What did he call him? Is that who the other survivor was? They were like having lunch or something.
I don't know.
Whatever it is.
Jim Crockett? Are you talking about Jim Crockett?
No, it was one of the other ones. But yes, a Crockett family member.
I don't think it was Davy Crockett.
I think it was Davy Crockett. He might have been wearing a raccoon as a hat.
As a hat.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Oh, man.
But they also talked about like Reed Flair's death, which was kind of
wow.
sad. And then they talked to Charlotte Flair because she was in part of it. Like she was walking around looking for the robe with the other people.
Okay, that's cool.
And she was like, I didn't even want to be a wrestler until Reed died. And Reed died in like I want to say like 2015 or 2013 or something. So it's not like it was that long ago. And in less than 10 years, she's become the best, women's wrestler
Allegedly.
in the world.
Allegedly.
Okay, Jazz. We all know Jazz is excellent. But the show started off, and producer Tony, I think you didn't see this, right?
No, I haven't seen any of these things. I stopped watching when the documentaries went away.
If you want to watch this one, I think you can convince your wife to watch this one with you because the show starts off with Ric Flair going to Hootie's house. Hootie,
Oh yeah.
who is not the name of Hootie and the Blowfish. His name is Darius Rucker. He is not Hootie. We have confirmed this, I believe.
Yes.
And they were not the Blowfish. Peewee's mind was blown on Saturday when he found this out.
I was just thinking, did we talk about this on Saturday or on the podcast last week? Because we did this recently. So, yes, how do you have should I say this for my bidder? How do you have a band where it's called, they have a lead singer and there's guys behind him and that they're doing whatever they're doing, and it's called Hootie, a specific thing, and the Blowfish? A group of things. How do you have a guy and a group of things with a name that is a thing and a group of things and they don't overlap? You're telling me he's not Hootie and they're not the Blowfish? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Whoever their manager is an idiot.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/bittermarks. So they are trying to find the legendary Ric Flair butterfly robe. This is the robe that he wore, I believe, in 1992 when he won the Rumble. He was wearing this. He wore it a lot, but it's a robe that disappeared.
Really?
He had no clue where it went. Ric Flair, he used to drink a lot, so maybe.
I was gonna say, yeah, he probably gave it to some broad or something after a night of drinking.
And so they're trying to figure this stuff out, and where could it possibly be? They bring Conrad Thompson in. He's like, look, I know everybody who collects all of this stuff, and everybody would give all of their stuff to have this thing. By the way, they go to Conrad Thompson's house, which is insane.
I haven't seen
belt
that.
collection.
Yeah. He's a belt guy.
Insane. He just has like memorabilia all over his house. He's got all kinds of boots and stuff like that. And then just so happens that somebody puts this thing up on eBay. So the robe that
While they're
everybody's
there?
been searching for,
While they're filming the show.
while they're filming the
Don't
show,
No,
They're
this is
literally
a work. This is a work.
filming a segment, and the guy who's like the archivist from WWE walks in, and he's like, "Hey, look at this!" And they like look at eBay, and the robe sold for $10,000, which it was estimated around $50,000, and it sold super quick, and it was just weird, like obviously set up and stupid, like taking stuff out of it, whatever, who cares? The best part about it is that they actually found the robe. So anyway, they're trying to convince now this person who bought the robe. The person who sold the robe is a hotel employee who said they found it at a hotel and they're selling it because their dad needs a gravestone. He just passed away and they don't have the money for it. And that all just happened to be right now. Believe it, don't believe it, do whatever you will. Who cares? They get a hold of the guy. The guy doesn't even want to be on television, so he sends a representative.
I like that.
And he goes, I want a robe and I want boots in return, and I'll make a trade. They do that. They get the robe. They get the boots. The robe that he wants is this jungle robe. And he goes, they're talking to Conrad Thompson. They go, do you know who has that robe? And he's like, I do. Lil Nate.
Of course.
So they got to go to Lil
Yes.
Nate's house. Ric Flair shows up. They're hugging and everything. And he's like, Lil Nate, I need that robe because we need to get the butterfly robe. Lil Nate starts crying. He's like, this is the most important thing in my entire career. Like,
Wow. Maybe that guy just had
and
a
they're like-
vendetta against Charles Robinson. He's like, I know
And
what
then-
he holds close to him. If you want my robe, you got to go ruin Charles Robinson's life.
It
Nobody
was
ever
probably
thinks
like
of the refs. Peewee.
it's
Nobody
like
ever
Nick
thinks of the refs.
Patrick. So they talk to him. They offer him money, and he's like, "There is no dollar amount that you can give me that I will give up this robe." And they're like, "Do you want your job at WWE?" I assume that's what they said.
We have your wife and children in the other room. If you'd ever like
So
to
they,
see
like-
them again.
They sit back and they come up with this plan to give him one of the golden robes of Ric Flair. And then Little Nature's like, "Yeah, I could do that. If it'll help you guys out, I can do that. But I need a picture with Rick and the robe next to me and blah, blah, blah." And so, like, they get the robe, they get the boots, they go back to trade to the guy, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I want money too." So everybody gets mad because they're like, "We got what you wanted, and now you're asking more." They get the money that he wants. They go to, like, set everything up, and then the guy's like, "Yeah, I want more money." And he does this many, many times to the point where I think he got something like $60,000 in addition to the robe and boots. Everybody on the show was like mad at him, and Conrad was just like, "Yeah, I will transfer him the money immediately. Give me this robe." And so now
for
the
Conrad.
owner of the robe is half Conrad and half WWE. Like, they went
Oh, interesting.
halves on it, and they both own
Okay,
it.
that's
So
cool.
Wow, that's a pretty good flip. That could be a flip of the week.
Yeah,
you get it,
absolutely.
you buy it for 10, and then you flip it for
Good
60.
on that guy, right? The whole time I'm thinking, I mean, that guy sounds like a dick for constantly going back on his deal, but good for him for ending up getting what he wanted to get out of it.
yeah, he squeezed him, and I feel like he used the guy who was actually like making the deals face to face to kind of like get the reaction of the people.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like the term he squeezed him. We need to start using that on flips and bumps, but instead of he squeezed him, just say I squeezed the fish a little bit more and got some more money out of him.
And
Don't ignore me.
And so,
Don't
yeah.
ignore that.
because this show is so fake, you kind of wonder how all this stuff lined up and like how they actually did find the robe, how the negotiations actually did go. Like, this couldn't have been the real way. They were doing it for television.
But at the same
It
time,
made for
if
good
it's,
television.
If it's all so fake, and I'm definitely not doubting that it is, why also throw in the very weird aspect of, well, the owner doesn't want to be on TV, so here's his representative. Why do that at all? You have enough of a complicated story as it is. Why tie it up even more with more loose ends?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm just a WWE hater, and so I'm just going after everything that they do from here on out after 1993. I mean, you're right. It's just
I agree
There's
with you.
a lot
It's definitely
cheesy.
worked.
Yeah.
I just don't know to what extent.
All right. Well, I was trying to think of a way to end this week's show, and a question popped up in my mind that I don't know that we've talked about, and I wanted to ask you this, Peewee, because my entire career and life has been an embarrassment in that order. So, like, I don't have an answer to this question. Producer Tony has had a short backyard wrestling career, so I don't believe he has an answer to this question. But I wanted to know if you've had any embarrassing stories from you, from your time in the wrestling business, things that happened, in the ring or behind the scenes or whatever that you considered
Okay.
an embarrassing story or two to share.
That's interesting. Nothing. I mean, nothing like super super embarrassing where like I can't talk about it and it brings shame to me or whatever. Nothing like that has happened ever in the ring. I have had little stuff happen. I tell you what, I think I've got two stories. I will tell one this week, and if you want, I'll tell another one next week, just because we're going a little long. Does that
Okay.
work?
Yeah,
the one
perfect.
from this week is it's a pretty short one, but I got some kudos as far as how I handled it. So I this one comes to mind. I was in Whitewater, Wisconsin, working a Randy show, and I was reffing I think it was the main event. And the way Randy show would work, or no, it wasn't the main event. That's key to the story. It was like it had to be like the third or the fourth match. There were definitely matches after me, and it wasn't. There were definitely two refs on the show, but it was one of those things where he was reffing like 1 and 2, and then I was reffing 3 and 4, and then maybe he did 5, I did 6, or something like that. I had back-to-back matches, so let's say it's 3 and 4. I go out to ref 3, and when when you're not wrestling in Whitewater, what you could do is above the entranceway, and by entranceway I mean door. Above the door, you can go upstairs, and there's like a bunch of windows that are kind of tinted, and that's where all the boys would change and look down on the show to watch what was going on, to get an idea of where the show was. For whatever reason, a lot of the guys were watching this third match. I'm, just reffing it like normal, no real big issues. But about 3/4 way through the match, I hit the babyface goes for a pin on the heel. I hit my knees, go for a 1, 2 kick out. I stand up and show the camera or whoever it was, the timekeeper. I give him 2 fingers. Hey man, that was 2. He kicked out, and then I can feel something weird on my leg. I look down, and my pants had completely torn from like my mid thigh down to my shin. And so yeah, it's the only time I've ever had like a wardrobe. It wasn't a malfunction. I mean, the pants did malfunction, but there was nothing like super embarrassing about it. But I had this huge gaping hole in my pants for the rest of that match. So I got through the rest of that match. It was fine. And like I said, normally I could just go to the back and try to fix it or do something. I don't have a backup pair of pants. Like there's nothing I can do to actually fix this thing. But I needed to come up with some sort of plan. So that was when I got to the back. In the meantime, I still need to ref this 4th match. So what I did to hopefully to diffuse, I didn't want to take any attention away from the actual match. And I thought if I just stood there with my knee gaping out of my pants the entire match without referencing it before then, I thought that it would take away from the work that the guys were doing. So what I would do was that match, the 3rd match ended. Then I did my usual, okay, let me walk around the ropes to each corner, check the turnbuckles, blah, blah. I'm not checking anything. I'm just making it look like I'm doing ref stuff. Okay, this turnbuckle feels tight. This one feels tight. Okay, those look good. Oh, now I go to it's my left knee that's tore, right? I go to my right shoe, and I look at it, and I go, oh, let me tighten this up. I put my right shoe up on the 2nd turnbuckle, with my right knee right in my face, and I just tighten my shoes. Act like I'm retying my shoe. I put that down. Okay, I did the right one. Now I've got to do the left one. I put the left one up on the turnbuckle, and now my knee is right in my face, and it's my bare knee. And this is between matches, so it doesn't really matter. And I sell the fuck out of it. Oh man. So and it got a small reaction out of the crowd. Like, oh, he noticed. Wow. So yeah, so then when I got to, so I did the 4th match, and it was fine. I let the fans know that I knew that I was aware of the knee thing. They didn't need to yell out things during the match. We covered it. And then when I got to the back, Long Time came up, running up to me afterwards. He's like, dude, I saw that. I saw it tear in the 3rd match. I saw how you set it up for the 4th match. I saw that you tied your right shoe first and then led up to the left. It was brilliant. Like, he really, really put that over, and that made me feel good. So it went from being an embarrassing situation to handling, I think, as best as I could, and then turned it around.
Well done.
Yeah, so that was a good one. I've got another one that's not nearly as fun and kind of creepy next week.
All right.
Tune in for that.
Next week, Peewee presents an expose on Jimmy Del Rey. What's creepier and more embarrassing than ripped pants, I guess? I don't know. And live music from Eggroll Willie will be here, so stay tuned for that. What's making me bitter this week is adding more wrestling shows to the schedule. We already talked about it. WCW Thunder. No one needs that. I was actually talking to our dear friend Sebastian in Long Beach, and he was like, yeah, this is getting ridiculous. He stopped watching all WWE programming, and we were complaining, like, when WCW added Thunder, you're just watering down the product. Nobody cared about that stuff. AEW, they're doing the exact same thing. It's like they haven't perfected a good show on Wednesdays, and now they're giving us Peter Avalon versus Marco Stunt on Fridays. And the sad part is I'm probably still going to go watch it. Producer Tony, what's making you bitter this week?
Well, there's nothing bitter this week. This is all positivity, baby, because you never give up. You got to live your life with hustle, loyalty, and respect. We're not talking anything bad about Steve Blackman this week, Daddy.
Wow.
All right? Never give up.
Peewee, what's making you bitter this
John
week?
Cena ever used the word daddy in one of his promos, that would be the greatest John Cena promo of all time. This week I'm bitter. I've got my second wrestling show in my second coming of my reffing career coming up this Saturday. The first show that I did last month was an outdoor show, and it was supposed to rain. This Saturday is another outdoor show, and it's supposed to rain, and it's also supposed to be hot. This week I'm just bitter towards my reigniting of my referee career. At this point, it may have been a mistake.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/bittermarks. New episodes drop every Monday morning, bittermarks.com. Wait, every Friday morning, bittermarks.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram @bittermarks. Email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. Last but not least, buy our shirts, prowrestlingtees.com/bittermarkscom. That's COM, as in more boat stuff. Catch me at CU Comedy tomorrow. Peewee, producer Tony, and all the smooth babies. See you guys next week.
Smash that like and subscribe button for John Cena here, guys. Pier, dock, oars, shore, wake, crawfish.
Never give up.